Ayo, this is T.O.T. Thank you for dropping in today, if you have. My history with MiHoYo has gone back a little bit further than some players who have played MiHoYo games. I started off with Honkai Impact 3rd, picked up Genshin Impact, and now I'm also playing Honkai Star Rail. With me having this level of experience, I am very cautious of throwing out the terminology broken or overpowered in comparison to a lot of the average audience. In Honkai Impact 3rd, one of the earliest examples of a broken character was the Hersher of the Void. Regardless of what the enemy was, even if she had type counter disadvantage against the enemy, she was decimating everything in her path. In fact, it got so bad that MiHoYo introduced a completely new enemy archetype, Quantum Enemies, just to put a stop to Hersher of Void's reign. To say the least, in Honkai Impact 3rd, for the most part, up until toward the end of Part 1, Hersher characters were always safe characters to pull. Now these days, with Part 2, that doesn't hold nearly as much weight, but it held up very true throughout most of Part 1. In regards to Genshin Impact, Archons for the most part are the best of the best, and these characters, for the most part, with the exception of Venti, are pretty much characters that can be safely pulled for, and somebody can get a lot of utility out of each of these respective characters. Honkai Star Rail is also no stranger when it comes to very powerful characters. The character names can range from Sam, Fei Xiao, Rappa, Herda, Aggy, Mighty, and the list can go on and on and on. All of these characters in their own respective rights are extremely powerful, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone can make very good arguments for each one of these characters being number one in their own respective mind. For me personally, there has only been a single DPS that has released up to this point that I personally would deem as broken. Every other character I would deem to be extremely strong in their own respective rights when it comes to being a DPS, and that character's name is Acheron. The devs intentionally made Acheron broken, but you don't have to take my word for it. Here's a clip of what they said about Acheron in the past.
他现在要举一个红色的雨伞，不过要我说的话，这其实不是最虚无的设计。你们知道最虚无的设计是什么吗？啊，你说说看。要我说最虚无的设计，那肯定是他一使用终结技，整个游戏都给你闪退了。
那我跟你说，就我们当时做完黄泉第1版，你知道吗？刚刚做完，然后什么东西都没有优化的时候，我们只要一使用黄泉终结技啊，直接闪退。
哦，真的会有这个效果是吧？
啊，对，因为它的那个各种做法，然后实在是性能消耗太大了，你知道吗？然后对，就你只要一点就直接闪退。
但我觉得这个很厉害啊，就非常的 meta，
这都是设计，
跳出框架。
Given that Acheron is a Raiden Mei variant from the Honkai Impact universe, the dev team had to make sure that they were going to deliver with this character. And no different from Raiden Shogun's original release in Genshin Impact, Acheron would go on to do phenomenally well on the sales charts. But what makes Acheron such an oppressive DPS? What makes her stand out from every other DPS that we've gotten up to this point in terms of Honkai Star Rail? Two things that separate her from every other DPS. The first is that she has no reliance on a Harmony character. Sure, you will see content creators using Harmony characters with Acheron, but objectively speaking, it's not even necessary, because quite frankly, Acheron's best team slot involves 2 Nihility characters, if not 3 if that option ever becomes available in the far off future. The fact that Acheron can get so much mileage without being reliant on Harmony characters is phenomenal. Players have often commented how overtuned or how busted Harmony characters are in terms of Honkai Star Rail, and there is an element of truth in this. Harmony characters tend to be very, very powerful, at least the limited ones anyways. Given the fact that Acheron has no reliance on needing any of these Harmony characters means that Acheron is built different. She is the exception. The devs intentionally made her broken. I don't use this terminology broken with any other DPS when it comes to Honkai Star Rail thus far. Now, if you want my personal opinion on any other character that might give that oppressive feeling moving forward in terms of DPS, well, there are a few contenders. We do have Finon, who is the Kevin variant from Honkai Impact 3rd. There is also the Honkai Star Rail version of Elysia, who could also match that. And then finally, there is Marshall Huo of the Xian show, who we have already heard about a little bit. She could possibly be a Fu Wall variant. But until these characters come to fruition, right now it's just Acheron. Acheron stands on this platform by herself. In terms of Honkai Star Rail, I'm a little cautious of just wanting to jump up and say Emanators are always going to be safe characters to pull for, because in terms of lore, Emanators in terms of power are radically different from one another. For example, one Emanator might be extremely weak in comparison to, say, Acheron, who is probably the peak level of a humanoid Emanator that we'll get in this game. But time will tell, and I could be debunked very easily on that. The second point in regards to Acheron is she does not have her best in slot team as of yet. In fact, the way that Acheron operates, she may never have an end-all be-all best in slot team. Sure, Zhao Shou is her best singular partner, especially in a game mode like Pure Fiction, where there's always going to be 5 targets. But there are definitely situations where there are other variants that might perform very close or might even perform slightly better. For example, if Acheron was paired with Kafka and Black Swan, it is the traditional Dakaron team that does pop off and can do very well in certain situations, having really good front load and back loaded damage at the same time. There is also a huge defense down variant that involves Acheron, Pela, and Silverwolf. This team will reduce the target's defense almost entirely, allowing Acheron's damage to go off the chain. With that being said, because there's still room for improvement in the Acheron team, none of these variants may inherently be her end-all be-all teams. If we were to obtain a Nihility character at some point in the future that had very minor healing but applied a DOT to the enemy as well, this would open up team comp variety for Acheron, making her even stronger than what she already is. I think MiHoYo is aware of this, and whether or not they make this type of character, who knows. But if they do, not only would this character potentially be a best in slot for a DOT variant comp, but probably also a best in slot for an Acheron team as well. Years back, the rapper Eminem dropped a diss track toward Machine Gun Kelly, and there's a particular line in this track that encapsulates my thoughts when it comes to Acheron as a character. The lyrics go something like this: because he knows as long as I'm shady, he's gonna have to live in my shadow. And unfortunately, with Aggy, I do feel like that shadow remark does apply to her very hard. Aggy is a very strong character within her own rights, don't get it twisted. However, there are 2 weaknesses that I have noticed with this character. The first is being that if her Memo Sprite ever was to die off very quickly, that would kill her momentum. What would also kill her momentum is if she was in an environment to where the enemies have energy draining mechanics, maybe even more harsh than what we currently have through Aventurine or through the Banana TV boss as examples. This would really slow down Aggy a lot, making her rotation feel a little ugh. Since Aggy's release, I've seen numerous comments of people hoping that she would have been released as an imaginary character as well, and I do agree with these players' sentiments. Aggy would have been the first limited imaginary female character within the game, and this would have been a breath of fresh air. With that being said, I also understand why she was made to be the lightning element, given that she has a big emphasis on being very fast. Kind of makes sense. Unfortunately though, due to her being lightning element, a good amount of the player base anyways ended up overlooking her simply because they already had Acheron locked in. It is what it is. While I'm on the topic of Acheron, is there any way the devs can absolutely stop Acheron? And the short answer is yes. There are 2 ways that Acheron can be stopped. Either they implement enemies that have 100% lightning immunity, as in they cannot take lightning damage no matter what, or they create enemies who are 100% immune to taking any type of debuff or DOT effect. Because we know with Acheron, in order for her to get stacks, targets have to be able to accept debuffs. If they're not able to accept debuffs, Acheron would be stopped. Now, whether or not MiHoYo ever goes this route, who knows? But it is an option on the table if they ever do want to completely shut down Acheron. And those are my thoughts when it comes to Acheron as a character. If you have your own thoughts on Acheron, let me know down in the comments. So I should be on side 2 at this point, and I really love the Jade, Tribby, and Serval mix up. So I had Jade put the deck collector onto Tribby because Tribby was going to have those follow-ups that would give Jade stacks faster, and of course Serval having such a low energy ultimate, I'm going to just be able to use this very frequently on top of the grip mechanic that's going to give Serval energy, which in turn is going to give energy to Tribby, because the more Serval ultimates, the more energy Tribby's going to get for her ultimate, and it's just this really nice loop. Now, I don't have Serval set up on a passkey build that you might have seen from some players. I have her on a standard 4-piece thief set with Himiko's light cone. You will see her build at the end of the video. And if you have taken the time to watch this or listen to this, just want to say thank you for your time. You be safe out there. Deuces.
Step up, let's see ya. It ain't over.
Give an inch and they'll take a mile. Bending the rules. There's no backing out. Now, for me or you. Something miserable.
Is it coming? Are you the West Wind? Let me go!
Who's the little backstabber?
Underestimating Asocostia! Delivering warmth!
Nice, like my friends. Indulge yourselves! In the mood for another beating?
Ready to lose your beauty and fight it, or rock with it! Time for a lesson.
Are you the West Wind? Let me go!
Turn it up! Don't let me down. There's no backing out now, for me or you. Miserable. Who's the little backstabber?
That's what you got?
That's it? Oh, God. Ready to lose yourself? You can fight it, or rock with it!
Nice, like my friends. Indulge yourselves!
Bending the rules.
How's this taste?
Ready to jam.
Coming? Are you the West Wind? Let me go!
Time for a lesson. There's no backing out now, for me or you. Pretty good crowd today. Keep up! You can fight it, or rock with it!
It's coming! Are you the West Wind? Let me go!
Who's the little backstabber? Lose some, win some.
Watch closely!
Step up, let's see ya! Time to mix things up!
Ready to
Nice,
jam.
like it, my friends. Indulge yourselves!
Bending the rules.
In the mood for another beating?
That's it. Turn up the volume. Fight it or rock with it. My music conquers all.